what I wanted to share feels kind of basic. And I feel like I just had to kind of get over it. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go over and let's talk about something basic that I'm pretty sure everybody here has already grappled with. And all of the lessons that we've had in youth group have come down to this one thing, and that is, like, what do you think it actually means to be a Christian? And when I say, what does it mean to be a Christian, looking around here, most of the people that I know here have already had that discussion probably within themselves. They've already had that idea of, hey, this is what it means to be a Christian. And they're all probably right. I mean, you've all probably got scriptures that you can kind of break down to make you feel like you're like, yeah, this is what it means to be a Christian. This is what a Christian does, or this is what a Christian looks like. You all have your own opinions and your own conclusions. And they're all, honestly, I don't want to, just because I'm maybe taking a different route doesn't mean that you're not right. Because I think it's incredibly important to have that understanding of what is it to Christian, right? And some of you guys are probably thinking like the greatest commandment that Jesus gave is, we can boil it down to love God, love others. And we know that part in the Bible where the disciples come up to Jesus and they're like, hey, Jesus, what is the one thing that you want us to know? What is the one thing that you need us to know? What is your greatest commandment? And Jesus says two things. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. And second, and equally important, love your neighbor as yourself. So I think for me, when I think of like what it means to be a Christian, that is the number one thing that kind of pops in my head, and that is love, right? And I think that's an incredibly important thing that we need to grasp. Now, other people probably have an idea, and this is kind of more of a bend to it, where what is the last thing that Jesus said before he ascended into heaven? Go and make disciples, right? And then baptize them, right? So the Great Commission. So there's some people that think a Christian is somebody that goes out and makes other disciples, that goes out and evangelizes. Is that true? Yeah. I mean, I think that's a role of Christianity and a role of Christians. Like I said, all of these things are right. Other people are going to take a bend and they're going to say it's important for Christians to feed the poor, take care of the widows and orphans, and that's where their idea of Christianity goes. That's where their mission is to take care of the people that need things. And I think that's incredibly important too, and that is right. That is what it means to, I think, be a Christian. Others believe that to be a Christian, you are to go into service, to serve the church, whether it's in ministry or whether it's in, vacuuming the sanctuary. That's what it means to be a Christian, is to serve others, to count others as higher than yourself. Once again, 100% right. Others, have a focus on creating community and developing fellowship. Also, something that I think Christians should do. And then Guy was talking last week about Pentecost and how that was the time where the Holy Spirit came in. And I think you can make an argument too that to be a Christian is to live a life guided and in step with the Holy Spirit. Now recently, by the way, a little shameless plug to your local libraries. Did you know that libraries are free and they have a whole bunch of really cool Christian books in there? And that you can also get an app on your phone to listen to audio books on the way to work? That's what I did. And in that, I've read 13 different books since January. And I'm super pumped about it because I love to read, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of convenient to have an audiobook kind of going in your ear while you're going to work. It's pretty sweet. And if you need help getting that hooked up, I would gladly help you with that because honestly, this is going to sound like extreme and kind of like crazy. It's been life-changing because I've read 2 books by Francis Chan, or listened to 2 books by Francis Chan, actually written by Francis Chan. It's really cool. It's called Crazy Love and then Forgotten God. And I highly recommend those books. Those have been really, really instrumental in kind of formatting what I feel like it means to be a Christian. And when we're talking, and so I'm going to steal some of his ideas just for a little bit. When we're talking about the Holy Spirit, he was saying that really, like, it's the biggest miracle, the Holy Spirit coming and us being closer to God, right? And then I thought, and I've talked about this in youth group a couple of times, is if we are Christians and we have received the Holy Spirit, then we have interacted with the literal Spirit of God. Give me a head nod if you kind of understand that part, right? Well, we have interacted with God. Let me ask you this. If I had had a similar experience with the spirit of Kobe Bryant, what do you think I would do? I'd have a much better basketball shot. I'd handle a whole lot better, probably would pass about the same, right? But we would expect that if I had an interaction with the spirit of Kobe Bryant, there would be physical and mental changes to me after interacting with that spirit. Can we say the same about interacting with the Spirit of God? One of the things that Guy kind of hit on last week was, hey, we have the Spirit in us, and there should be a change within us once we actually have the Spirit. And one of the questions that Francis Chan asks in one of his books was, how has your life changed since becoming a Christian? How has your life changed since receiving the Holy Spirit? And I want to challenge you guys this. And Guy was pretty harsh on us last week, and I don't want to be harsh because it's difficult, right? But if you can't say that your life has changed after becoming a Christian, if you can't say that your life has changed after receiving the Spirit, then we should probably take an examination of the way that we're living. And so I think one of the things that means to become a Christian is to walk in step with the Spirit, right?